and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
Welcome back, Shinboners, episode 75, Chief. We made it to 75. Who'd have thought? Not us.
No, 3/4 of a century. Well done to you.
Yeah, we've got to make our way through the 80s and the nervous 90s and see if we can bring up the illustrious debut ton, to use a couple of cricket terms there.
In 2025.
Yeah, I don't think we're pushing 25 more out this year. But anyway, today's podcast, we're going to be focusing on Jaden Stevenson, the shock for some, not for others. News that he has pulled the pin and announced his retirement from AFL football. We're going to cover all the news regarding WA and what it means for Greater North fans, and particularly our Tassie listeners.
Yes.
Us being Tasmanians. And then we've got some listener Q&A questions. Plenty to cover in that space. But I suppose the best place to start is with the news of Jaden Stevenson announcing his retirement. I think we flagged it on this pod about a month ago, and it was flagged from other supporters before that at the exit meeting. So
We got some hard love at the exit meeting.
that's what our mail is.
That's what the mail is, yes.
So I can't confirm, but it's looking that is likely. But a frustrating player. His best was very good, as was demonstrated quite early in his North days. And then we're just joking off air. I thought we'd share the listeners. He was frustrating, but the most frustrating moment, which is you can look back and laugh now, was when he was playing off half back against Sydney. He took the kick in and kicked it straight to Buddy.
Straight to their best player. He put it straight back over his head, and he didn't see it because he was turning around and sooking it up.
Oh, God, that's funny to look back at.
No, it's not. I still barely laugh now about it. That was shocking. It was the most uncompetitive thing I've seen for a long time. You're allowed to make a mistake, but then you don't just turn around and look at the crowd or look at his shoelaces. You try and get it back.
Yeah, what would
You
John
try and smother it. You try and do something.
What would John have done in that same position?
Yeah, he'd have smothered it.
Yeah, he would have. I just want to touch on, everyone obviously talks about his game over in Perth on what was a Monday night game.
Yeah, it's a rare Monday night game in the rain too.
Yeah, so we'll touch on that obviously, but I want to talk about some other games in his first year, because his first year was quite good. On debut, he had 33 disposals.
Yeah, he was living up to pick 6 in the draft.
It was some of his best footy, and I'll just run you through some of his stats in the first 10 weeks. So he had 33, then he had 14, quite a game, and then I'll just quickly go through the numbers for the rest. He had 19 and 2 goals, 17 and 2 goals, 16 and 2 goals, 18 and 2 goals, 19 and 2 goals, and then also a 24 and 3 later in the year. So his start, and you thought, oh, gee, we're finding the best of him.
Found one here. He was doing a lot better than Ben Brown was for Melbourne at that stage.
Because that was the
Because he
trade.
couldn't get on the par.
And we'll unpack that trade and look back now that we have a definitive finish to the trade.
Yes.
But yeah, there was lots of speculation when we got him that, his form had been down. He didn't agree with hub life up in Gold Coast and Brisbane through COVID. So pushing past that, we thought, we can find his best. I suppose under Nobes, he never really settled in a position. He played off half back, he played on the wing, he played half forward. They didn't really trial him enough at full forward, for mine, where he played his best footy for Collingwood.
Yeah, we had Larky there. We had a different setup. They still haven't got key position forwards, have they? Or good ones. They've got workhorses. They haven't got elite like we have with Larky. But can we go back to the draft? Can we go right back? Just a little drive-by for you, maybe.
Oh, I know where you're going.
That was the LDU draft. And I wanted LDU. We'd pick 4. And who'd you want?
Well, okay, let's set the record straight. I did want us to pick Jaden Stevenson, but it was also under the assumption, it was pretty well documented that LDU was going to go pick 2. And obviously he didn't in the end.
He slid.
So I'm happy we got him, but yes, I was big on him. And also, this isn't going to look good for when we start talking draft. This bloke's got no idea. But I also really like the look of Paddy Dow, which another stinker in that draft. So
yeah, but they were all top 6 I think you were big on the Fog too.
Yeah, because we needed forwards.
Yeah, Fogarty. But for Adelaide, he's starting to come on now, isn't he?
Well, he's just signed for about 15 years.
Yes, that was. We won't go all cane corns on that, but that was a very generous contract.
Yeah, for a, not quite a key forward, not a small forward. He's just that third tall option who's had to play taller, and Will with the big Texan
Yes.
about to hang him up.
Yeah, we've gone off track. We're talking about Sleevo. Sleevo, yeah, I remember he was on 360 with Slobbo and Gerard. Because he was one of they have a couple of gun pre-draft gun players from the under-18s, and I can't remember who the other one was on, but Sleevo was on there, and then he had a heart murmur or something just before the draft, but Collingwood took the punt on him.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was training with North, wasn't he, before the draft? He did a...
Yes, I think, well, the under-18s get a club
Yeah.
to go and train with, and he was with North, yes.
Because I think that's some of the reason why I was keen to get him, because I'm pretty sure he went on the record saying, I'd love to be drafted.
Yes, he did. He did. Yeah, he wanted to go to North. Yeah, I've forgotten about that. Well done.
Yeah, that's all. Really winding back the clock there. But I suppose let's touch on his West Coast game, because that's the game probably his
Everyone
best game.
loves.
So it was obviously that Monday night in the wet. He had 38 disposals, kicked a goal. He was everywhere. The long sleeves were on. We fell in love with Sleevo that night if we hadn't already. And unfortunately, he couldn't quite replicate that in the following years. But that game in particular, wow, what a game. And he basically dragged us over the line that game. He ended up getting the famous goal assist to my man, my favourite shinbone of all time, Cunners, who kicked that goal from about 45 out.
Yep.
And he kicked a massive goal from about 50.
Kicked a torp, didn't he?
Yeah.
A massive torp, yes. No, it was all happening. He was good. And just going through the early work he did when he was just consistent with his 19 and 2. That's sort of what you wanted for but he became very inconsistent. And I remember on the Nobes, there was talk of him, being a midfielder. But, I think it was it Luff? Who was a stats man? They were trying to...
Champion Data,
trying to get him in there because of his under-18 form. But he was the same size as he was in the under-18s. And then he couldn't go in the midfield against the bigger bodies in the AFL. So I thought they were sort of pushing his barrow a bit too hard that way.
Well, that was the thing that sort of stopped him. One of the things that stopped him from elevating his game is he never put on size. I mean, you can't have him matching up, because his skills are really good, but he can't have him matching up on a Bontempelli or a Cripps.
No way. His speed and his kicking were his assets. And anyway, he's gone now, so good luck to him. I don't think he wasn't in the start of the year. He was just in my best 23. And he wasn't in yours, I don't think, or was he on the bench in yours?
I think he's on the bench.
Well, I had him on the ground, but if I'm doing one right now, he's not in the best 23. He's probably not in the next 3 either.
No,
if he was still on the list, obviously he's retired now, and we wish him good luck. And before we wrap up about Sleevo, I've got a little anecdote, because we rate them as players, and we can go a bit harsh for a couple of nufties who never played AFL. But we went over to training, summer training. It was in December.
22?
23, I think.
No, 22.
It was 22, was it? We were over there to watch the Killers. And we wandered out to training, got off the tram at the wrong spot and had about a 500... no, more than that.
We ended up at the zoo.
Ended up almost at the zoo and then had to walk to Arden Street. And anyway, we saw the training. The Frog and Mrs. Frog were there as well. And we went to the shop, Rouge shop, to get some merch. And Sleevo wandered in as Mrs. Frog was about to pay. Or about to go to the counter, and she let him in. Sleevo said, thanks very much. And then because he was buying merch for his player sponsor or someone. And then he shouted her. Without a no, he just paid. And then you heard that, and you ran back to the racks and got about 14 handfuls. So, Sleevo, what about me?
That's not quite how
a bit of mayo there at the end. But no need to do that, Sleevo. A very generous person. Just to do that for someone he didn't know. He just let him go first. We had all day.
Yeah. All the mail that I have received is that he's a much loved figure at the club.
Yeah, so
all the boys love him. So, the best of luck to him in his future endeavours.
Yeah, we wish him all the best.
Obviously, footy just didn't quite work out with him, but no doubt...
Mrs. Frog has still got a beanie or whatever she bought, and it's Sleevo's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Sleevo.
Yeah, who's going to don the long sleeves now?
Oh, little man. Little mini helmet.
Yeah, no, I can't see.
You don't reckon?
No.
He wants to show the tats.
He's
the
got
art.
to, you know,
the stickers. He's
you
got to show
don't
the
go
stickers.
spending money getting those stickers if you're not going to show them.
Yeah, fair enough. And I noticed the club has already put out the first Big X, trying to put the little helmet on. The big helmet and little helmet's already made the socials on the club website.
Look, this has the chance to be one of the biggest marketing ploys for the club in a long time.
Yes.
I think there's got to be a T-shirt at least released by the club. Come on, North Media Department. No doubt you're listening. Marketing as well. That a T-shirt of those two.
Yeah.
With the Helmet Brothers or something. There'd be a tagline you could make.
That'd be like, you could do it like the Twins, the old 80s movie with Big Arnold, Get to the Chopper, and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, actually, shout out to North Melbourne Vintage on Instagram. They have already done that.
Oh, well
Cropped
done.
the players' faces on. So check them out. They put up a lot of good stuff. Like, especially when you're feeling a bit down in the middle of the day, middle of this winter season. North haven't been firing, and you get to watch a few videos of Boomer or Azza Edwards or back to Carey and Longmire and McKernan days.
What are they called?
North Melbourne _vintage on
Okay.
Instagram. So I'll give them a plug because they put up great stuff.
Yep, you'll have to show me because I'm not on any of the socials.
Yeah. Right. Is that about... Oh, no, we're going to have a look at the trade.
The trade. The famous trade. Do you want to run us through it?
Yes, why not? So we received Jaden Stevenson, R2 Bosnavalagi. I hope I haven't butchered that. I think that's pretty accurate from me there. And pick 39, which ended up being Phoenix Spicer. And we traded back 26, 33, and 70, which are the picks that we had received from Ben Brown.
Right. Okay.
So if you look at that...
So if you look at the meat in the sandwich, it's Ben Brown versus what did he play? I've written it down there. How many games for
45 games, 73 goals.
For Melbourne. And we got Sleevo, who played 68 games for us. R2, who played, I can't see my own writing, 17 games and 1 goal. And
Boot Park, it was.
Sorry?
I remember it. It was at Boot Park.
Oh, he's
Kicked it
1
from
goal.
about
Yes.
60.
Yes. And Phoenix Spicer, who played 6 games and probably no real good ones. And R2 probably didn't play many good ones either. And Sleevo, what do we reckon, about 50%, do we?
Yep.
Okay. And Ben Brown didn't really flourish. What did he kick? Well, he couldn't manage 2 goals a game for Melbourne in their gun team with their gun midfield throwing it, or putting it down his throat all day.
The big thing in
So I said earlier, you probably don't remember this, we talked about this trade earlier in the year, and I said we were just ahead, and you disagreed. What do you think now? Because we're obviously thinking we'd still have him for another year, and we might get a dozen games out of him next year.
I think Melbourne win just because they won a premiership.
Yeah, but you can't count. I disagree because it took a whole team to win a premiership. And although he was handy, I think Ben Brown wins because he got the premiership, if you want to look at it that way. But I don't think Melbourne necessarily win. He wasn't vital in their premiership, but he was handy and he kicked 3, I think, in the grand final. So, yeah, maybe Melbourne just now that Sleevo's off. And what are we paying him? What do you reckon? Because they're obviously negotiated out of his contract.
Well, he'd be on just a stab in the darks, but around the 600 mark.
That's what most of the media people are saying. So they're more on the know than we are. So we'll
that-
go with that.
And I've seen a few people say, why do we have to reach a settlement? Because he's still contracted.
Yeah,
That's why.
exactly. And we want the list spot. So he's done the right thing by doing it. He could have done it in the middle of summer training when it got too hard, and then we're stuffed. But he's done it before the draft, so we get another list spot open up. So he probably gets his base payments, or he gets something.
Probably get half of it.
Yeah, maybe half, which is still good coin, isn't it?
Yeah.
To not have to train all summer.
Not running.
Don't have to put your head in the trough.
No.
He can go and do whatever he wants. And as we said before, good luck to him.
Well, we hope the best. Right, let's move on to the WA chat. So it was revealed last night by Ryan Daniels, a reporter over in the West and also on all the news platforms that...
Is he the only reporter over in the West who doesn't cover Harley?
Yeah, I think
he
so.
just has everything else is left to him. Well, the other 18 reporters are all following Harley around. Anyway, yeah, keep going.
So It appears that we're going to be selling 2 games over there, playing 2 home games, one at Optus and the other is, where is it?
Bunbury. I looked at that.
I don't know where that is.
That's south of Perth.
How far? How far for the shin boners wanted to travel?
Oh, I didn't go that deep into it, but it'd be a day trip.
Yeah, okay.
It'd be like us driving to Boot Park, I reckon.
So what are your initial thoughts?
Well, what's the coin? I think it's 2 mil, isn't it?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, that's good coin for 2 games. Now, football-wise, we're playing home games in the further city from Melbourne, aren't we, in Australia, against 2 home teams. So it's not good football-wise, but it's very good bottom dollar-wise. And obviously, we've got to replace. There's been a lot of talk, maybe too much talk, to quote Bono, the great man. We've got to replace the money that we're losing from Tassie.
We'll be like St Kilda,
Yeah,
14 million.
I mean, we're making small profits every year, but a lot of that's on the... It's not because we're packing out Marvel every week for our home games. It's because Tassie are throwing money into it. So if we get 2 mil from Western Australia, that's going to be gold. And it will be a mini hub. It'll only be one flight over and back. Although we'll probably have to do it twice a year, won't we?
Jack Darling, I could just picture him
Jack
going.
Darling said, I want it out of WA, now going back. But he's a WA boy, so he'll be able to stay at home, visit the family. Old Bull will be able to go and cook his mum some nice smoked brisket or something.
Yeah, Griff, Riley Hardiman, we've got plenty of WA
there's a few
boys.
of them. Well, that's another thing. They're going to have to align the VFL, so we have the buy in the VFL when we have the hub, or whatever you want to call it, our 2 WA home games. So we can take 30-odd players over there.
You're going really deep into that. I like it.
Well, no one thinks of that.
Here's the
I bet you the AFL haven't thought of
No, of
that.
course
Let's
they
hope North have. But the VFL have buys there. They've got 100 teams playing in the VFL competition. It's ridiculous. Well, as soon as that, there's another little mini grind my gears. As soon as that becomes a proper VFL or AFL reserves, just the 18 AFL teams play each other. And sorry, all the other teams who have been around a long time, your Williamstown, your Southports,
Port Melbourne.
yeah, they can go back to their own comp. That's my humble opinion, anyway. Anyway, so they've got to have the buy so we can take, players over, and for that 2 weeks have the buy up. You can't be flying players back and across from Perth to Melbourne, or we'll no doubt we'll be playing Southport at home, so they'll have to fly from Perth to Southport when they're not picked in the team after Thursday night training.
Yeah. Look, I haven't given that too much thought. That's
a detail you get from the chief.
Here's a stat I found for you. We've won 3 out of our last 5 in WA, compared to
You want to move there permanently?
compared to 1 out of our last 13 in Hobart.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was Tassie because that was including Launceston.
Yeah, okay. No, well, I still have nightmares about that last game in Launceston. I don't want to go there.
And it's good it's good long term for our Victorian members because they're going to get more home games.
Yes. They should get 9 when Tassie pull out.
Which is the end.
North pull out of Tassie.
Which will be the end of this year because the contract runs. The end of next year at 2025. I'm led to believe.
Yeah, so we're obviously not playing 4 home games in Tassie.
Well,
even though they've charged us that on our membership.
Oh, well, getting there in a minute. But it's going to be a 2-2 split. So 2 in WA, 2 home games in WA, 2 home games at Ninja Stadium. Yeah. And obviously the 7 home games in
so when Tassie come in and we're out of Tassie, it'll be 2 home games and 9 in Victoria. 2 in the West and 9 in Victoria. And I'm still pushing for maybe 1 or 2 of those to go country Victoria. Because I don't think we're going to really grow. We're not going to get a heap of members in WA. We've got a very large supporter base over there.
Second biggest.
Yes. They're rusted on shin boners like we are. I don't think we're going to grow many over there unless they really just hate West Coast and Freo. Maybe you might get a 0.1% jump on board, but it's more about the cash, isn't it? Cash injection, keep us afloat.
I'll tell you who the big winner is. Frog Junior.
Yes.
He's going to get to see bloody half the season in WA next year.
Yeah, exactly. Pick the right time to move to Perth.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
But it works out. You fly over. It's a long flight, but you fly over and you stay the week and see 2 games. It's going to be in June or July, I think, isn't it? So it'll be a midwinter break. Be good.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Now back to membership talk. I know a lot of the Tassie members, us included, are not happy because we've been charged for our 4 home game membership. But I'm assuming and I'm hoping, because they can't really do anything because it's not official yet. The fixture hasn't been released, but there's some sort of contact made by the club to sort something out once it's released that we're only playing 2 home games.
And they couldn't let us know early because you just mouthed off on the pod and let everyone know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you know here first. Yeah, I'm sure they'll sort that out. But we have our Shinboner membership just roll over every year.
Yeah, but I've heard a few supporters, and we've talked a bit about this off air, that they just want 11 home games. That's unfortunately
In Melbourne, at Marvel.
Yeah, that's unfortunately not.
That's not going to happen.
Well, it's not sustainable. We can't run at a profit doing that.
And you can't even make the argument, when we're good, it'll be better, we'll get more people. Yes, we will get a few more fans come on, but we're a smaller member-based club. And when we were very good and the team of the 90s, guess where we played? Sydney, Canberra, Gold Coast, we've been everywhere.
We're the greatest player of all time rolling around.
Yeah, playing up in Sydney in a home game. So it's just the fate of the North Melbourne Football Club. We've got to remain profitable, and to do that we're going to have to sell games, and it's going to hurt us football-wise, because playing a home game against Freo over there, we both expect Freo to probably be top 4 next year.
Yep.
So it's going to be hard to win that home game. And we might even get a return bout over there to play them as the away team.
Yeah.
It's more than likely. We're not... Be nice if we'll play 2 home there, don't give us any away games there, but I don't reckon that'll happen.
We'll play West Coast over there twice, I imagine.
Yes.
Home and away.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so you just can't play 11 home games in Victoria, because when we play the Gold Coast of the world, the GWSs, we're going to be lucky to get 10,000.
Well, they're the ones that we get thrown down here.
Yeah. So, and you make money off them. You play them at Marvel in front of 10,000 people, you lose money. Mm. That's the sad reality of it. And we don't get the big blockbuster games. We get Good Friday, and that's it. And everyone wants to take Good Friday off us because we've been a poor team since we've had it.
Yeah, we've won 1 and we lost 1 where Lindsay just missed to the left from 50.
Yes.
We lost by 3 points, but rather outside of that, we've been a bit uncompetitive. So that's going to be a must next year, is to at least...
Yeah, but I wonder how many people talk about Richmond and Carlton opening the season, because they've always been uncompetitive games. Either Carlton have been shit or Richmond have been shit.
Yeah. Don't expect any sort of fairness to come into consideration.
No, not at all. Anyway, so that's what we've got to do. It's good thinking by the club. I'd still like, dip the toe in the regional Victoria market up at Bendigo or wherever they think they can convert some long-term fans and make another profit.
Yep. But it'll go to 9.
That'd still leave probably 8 games, home games at Marvel.
Which is an upgrade on what it has been, because it's been 7. So
yes, and we've got to try and get away games at the MCG. A couple more away games.
Well, this brings me to a point. I was speaking to you about this a couple of weeks ago. So it's our 150th year in the AFL, and there's 2 other teams, the Hawks and the Dogs.
Yes, we all joined the same time.
Yeah, they've requested a home game against a big Victorian club at the MCG. Why have we not?
Yes.
It's staggering, because when we get back to making finals, which we hope's not that far away, where do we play our home finals?
Yeah, the MCG.
Exactly. We play there less than Adelaide, less than Gold Coast.
Yeah, they all wanted 2 or 3, and we get, what do we have, 1?
We have 1 most years. 1 game at the MCG.
And even when we play Collingwood as the away team, that's at Marvel. So, yeah, we need some practice at the G. That's probably the only bright side about playing 1 game at Optus, because it's the same dimensions as the G. But we don't want that to be our home MCG game at Optus in Perth.
Exactly.
But, yeah, we've got to get more games at the G as an away game. And for this year, the 100th anniversary, we should have said we want Friday night, because we pioneered that at the G.
Yep, against...
As a home, or against Collingwood, against Essendon, against whoever. Carlton, big team.
And we get 80,000 there.
We should even, Anyway, that would have been what I'd have asked for, but I don't know how our contract is with Marvel. We're probably locked into playing at least 7 home games there, because we've got the Tassie and now Perth. we're probably locked into not having a home game at the G.
Well, that's where it's poor because we should be only playing the one game in Perth to get the MCG.
Well, just
home
push to get away games at the G. There's plenty of co-tenants. Everyone else wants to play at the G, so let's play Carlton Good Friday. If we play them twice, let's make sure the next one's at the G. But they're contracted to play minimum at Marvel, and they won't want to play us at the G when they can play Essendon or Hawthorn or Collingwood and draw a bigger crowd.
Well,
That's
they
all
could-
they
they
care.
could move-
That's all they care about.
They could move Good Friday to the MCG.
Yes, they could for the 100th year, make that huge.
Yeah,
But they won't.
it won't happen.
Well, I think they need to start listening to this podcast.
I think so.
Get a few ideas,
Um,
even though most of ours miss, but we land a couple.
Yeah, well, even a broken clock's right twice.
Well,
a day.
that's it. That's it.
Right, let's get into some listener questions. We will start, as always, on Instagram. And Footy Forecast Pod asks, which keep an eye, I'll be on there soon.
What?
Yeah, guess where they're from?
Perth?
Yeah.
What? Footy forecast in Perth? What? You're going to be in the mayor of Perth.
Yeah,
You're
well,
gonna
watch
kick-
out,
kick-
Basil's
Yeah,
Empire
I was
song.
going to say, you're going to go for his job.
They ask, where do you see Tom Powell's best position in the team? I'll start. So, ideally, he plays that sort of fourth, fifth midfielder. But if we go to the draft, and this is going to be a conversation topic, it's going to make me blow up again, and draft another midfielder.
What size midfielder?
Yeah,
180?
175,
Oh,
180.
Gee.
Then he's just unfortunately not going to get enough looks. I didn't mind him off half back at times last year.
Yeah, we've got the little mini helmet to go play half back.
Yeah, we've got Colby coming up the ground, so mini helmet there. Fisher, who knows where he plays. Goder will take a little bit to get back in. A huge pre-season coming up for Miller Bergman. Hardiman pushing, so...
Yes, we're not sure the half-back types. But
No.
yeah, I like him coming off the bench and into the midfield, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, he's going to have to rest at half forward, and he has got on the end and kicked some goals, but yeah, he's a tough one. He's entering the prime now. It's really time to take that
It's
next
go
step
time for him,
for Tommy, and
or a few others, but him.
he doesn't have the tank to play on the wing, so we can't look at that. So he's probably going to be stuck at the half forward position, I reckon. What do you think?
Yes, I prefer him as a midfielder. I think he's more natural there, but that's why Clarko's paid the big bucks, so you have to find a spot for him.
Mark Loves Beer on Instagram says, how does the leadership group shape up in 2025? Who do you think is captain, vice captain, and does Parker get in? Yes, Parker. I think captaincy next year, I just want a solo captain. I've had enough of this co-captain. I think give Jai the reins and have Nick Larkey and Harry Sheasel as his vice captains.
Yep.
Co-vice captains next year. And yes, I'd definitely Parker in.
And what are you doing with Luke Elmay?
He can be like Jack was after he passed on, just a leader down back.
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind it. It'll be a bit of a kick in the backside for Luke, but he's probably, of all those, he's on the shakiest ground to be in the best 23, isn't he?
Yeah, the end is near for Elmac, unfortunately, I think. Rich B _X3, percentage chance of splitting pick 2. Cow Toomey thinks it's low. No more midfielders, Brady, please. Well, he's right on the train with me because, it looks like if we keep pick 2, it looks like we're going to draft another mid.
All right. Okay. I think Cow's on. It's the worst year to have a pick 2 and try and slide because there's so many. It's so deep in the elite end of the talent. So people they think, well, we've got pick 5, 6, 7, 8. We're still going to get an elite midfielder. We don't need to give you extra to go to 2. And I just want to talk about the deal that was mentioned in the Herald Sun, and obviously he went wild on around the North community, and that was for us to side with Richmond. So we give pick 2 and a future first, which would have to think would be top 4, top 6.
It's very conservative.
Yeah.
That worst top 6.
Yeah, and at best top 6, I suppose.
Sorry, that's all.
And we get in 6 and 11, not even their 10. So basically, we're giving 2 for 6 going back 4 spots and getting nothing back, and giving our future first, which we think might be 4, let's just say 4, for argument's sake, for pick 11. What the hell is the point of that?
Yeah.
If you want, let's just say Harry Armstrong or the Flying Viking, and we think we'll slide for pick 6, we've got to get something coming back. Otherwise, we may as well take him pick 2. Keep our future first.
No, I'm a bit different. I think this is chips in this draft. I'll be trading our future first. I'll be going to St Kilda. They have 7 and 8, and I'd be offering a future first for that.
Yeah, well, so would I. I'd take that, but I don't think they won't give it. They like this. Everyone loves this draft, so no one wants to go out.
But
that's why you're going to give up a future first, which will be like, let's just say, pick 4, which may turn into 5 or 6 if Zeke Euland's as good as everyone says, and he'll go 1. So maybe an academy or a father-son get in there, but it'll be at least pick 5. Let's just say it could be worse and be pick 2.
could be pick 1.
Yeah, so it's for pick 11. And why wouldn't it even be Richmond got 10? We should at least ask for 10, but I wouldn't mind that if we got an 18, a 20 or 23 back, or even a future second of Richmond. But we're going to get something back. Otherwise, what's the point of sliding? Just take who you want it to.
Yeah.
And if it's not a midfielder, if you got your heart set on the Flying Viking, well, just take him at 2.
Well, he's been talked about top 5 anyway, so...
Yeah, he's coming from about 25. If you go back earlier in the year, he was at least in the late teens. So good on him. He's come flying in the Flying Viking. And, if you're going to slide, you've got to get something back. Otherwise, there's no point in sliding, is what I'm saying. I don't mind us sort of going all in on this draft. But you pick 11... would want to be a hell of a good player because that'll push you out to 12 or 13. So whoever's available would want to be a hell of a good because they've got to translate into a top 4 pick for the following year. And if that's what they've identified, that's fine, do it.
Now, to answer the original question about percentage, I would still be watch this space because I know Richmond are still very keen on potentially getting the Jagger Smith-Finn O'Sullivan duo. And
they want Layla. That's all the mail.
Okay, I haven't heard that latest bit, but
that's been for a month. He's a dusty clone.
Well,
a powerful midfielder, he can go forward and kick goals. As I don't argue, who's that remind you of? All he's got to do is shave his head, get some stickers,
find a bikie gang to hang out with as well.
But that's all the mail. But I think that's the thing. It's so close. All those top 4, 5, you can make a case for any of them going number 1. But if we keep pick 2, Brady, you're on notice. You better bid for Ashcroft. Make them pay.
Oh, they will. I've got no doubt about it. While we're talking about the draft, I'll just quickly move over to X, where North AFLW, my only friend on X, says, "What's the chief think of Sid Draper? Big chance he's who we call out if we hold on to pick 2."
Yeah, I haven't heard so much of all we're hearing about. We heard early days it was Armstrong we're after, but now apparently Melbourne might take him at 5.
And
or
the
9,
Flying
or
Viking.
definitely at 9. And we're right into the Flying Viking, apparently. But midfielder, who was it?
Sid Draper.
Sid Draper. Yeah, I haven't heard much about him. Firstly, I heard he was slow. Now they're saying he's got explosive speed. So I think he's a good player. Like they're saying Carlton might take him. Well, I think Carlton are after Foss, Sullivan.
Yeah. Right. If you're let's play a game here.
You're
Brady, pick 2.
Yep.
Who are you taking?
See, originally I'm always best talent, so that'd probably be Sullivan. But now I'm starting to fall for the Flying Viking.
So am I.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave it up to Brady, and we'll judge it in 5 years. Because you can go back through the drafts and see who's slid outside the top 10, who are now probably the best players. So if Brady thinks he's the man, and it's close, like he's a need we need. That's great. Need we need. He's a requirement, isn't he? Because we've got a lot of midfielders. So if he's within 5 or 10% of who, say Finn O'Sullivan, well, maybe we have to go need first in this rare occasion.
Yeah.
Because all our midfielders are still young.
But there's still
and we've already talked about Tom Power, who we can't find a spot for.
And there's a lot of key position depth in the teens of this draft too. Obviously, Luke Traynor, the Whitlock twins, Armstrong potentially. In a lot of mock drafts, he's in that sort of
Yep.
11 to 14 range as well. So if we can sneak back in there as well and pick up a couple.
That's why I want, if we slide, we've got to get something back from Richmond or whoever we slide with. I'd like to do the St Kilda slide, but I don't know what they've got after 7 and 8. If we could slide 2 to 7 and get something back, even if it's next year's second rounder. I don't know. I haven't thought of it, but you've got to get something back. There's no point in sliding.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting, and we will have a mega draft preview coming closer to the draft when we get.
And whoever we get will be a superstar.
Yeah.
to prove otherwise. That's the way everyone wins draft night.
Will it be a big controversy again, like it was last year with the Curtin v Dersma debate?
Yes.
Which we'll keep track of as the years go on, but probably
who's winning that now?
I think Zane's got his nose in front at the moment.
Yeah, not by much, but in front because
Neither of them lit the world on fire, but they're both not they're not midfielders. So they're not going to come in and dominate straight away,
right.
or they're not like your Colbys and Harry who just roll off half back and have 35.
Well, Curtin is. That's why I think Zane won because Zane played a harder position.
Yeah, Curtin's more your third tall, more
Yeah, so
than
that's
a
where
user.
No, but that's where you can shine easily. I think anyway.
I don't think it doesn't matter who you are. If you're playing a North's forward line, it's always going to be tough. But we'll move on to the next question, which is from Dave OC24, who says, we haven't had a controversy-free off-season for years. What headline will we see in the next 4 months? Oh, no. I don't even want to think about it, because it is exactly right. We've had so many off-season controversies that have just impacted our... We just need a clean run of air.
Yeah, what's happening with the Hawthorn thing? That's probably the obvious one you could go to. Well, that blows up again.
Oh,
Poor Clarko. But I haven't heard much of that for a while.
hopefully the off-season news is girls still celebrating flag win.
Yes, I like it. Yeah, but yeah, positivity.
Yeah.
We're very positive about the girls.
That's all the news I want to hear is positive. I want to hear Charlie Combin's training the house down, probably the next All-Australian centre-half back.
Yep.
I want to hear Jack Darling probably on track to kick 60. That's all I want to hear.
Yep.
And just to watch, big watch on Big X. I love him, but he's just giving me Braden Bruce vibes. Don't tread on anyone's foot. Don't injure anyone in the pre-season.
Go soft. Go hard at the opposition and a bit soft at training.
As we've said on this podcast, he has been on record saying that he likes to test the first years out with a lot of aggressive tackling, just to sort of get the grasp on what their
What they're made
what
of.
their competitive levels are like. And also, my other point will be we've got to make sure George doesn't get a concussion.
Yes.
I mean, it's easy to say because he's got to train at 100% and he's got to give it all to get ready for the season. But I'm happy with it, but that's my biggest fear, I suppose, is he getting another concussion.
Yeah, or anyone getting a major injury over summer.
We've had a ton of questions about WA, so hopefully we've covered that. Thank you to everyone who wrote those in. We greatly appreciate those.
Just like to touch on, the bit sad, we're only 2 trips to Boot Park or Ninja Stadium as it is now.
Yeah, we'll be sad.
So we've lost 50% of our games.
Do you know what that means, Melbourne listeners?
Yeah, we're coming over.
We're coming over more often. Here's a great question from Mitchell Lord on Facebook. Obviously, we all want LDU to sign ASAP, but when do you lads see it getting done, and when do you start getting nervous? Personally, I already am. So I read this last night, and I've had a bit of a thought about it, because I should mention that you don't know any of these, which is why I generally try to go first, so you can have a second to think. I think there's 3 stages of worry. So we're at stage 1 now, where it's just general worry. We're really anxious about him re-signing. I think stage 2, if he hasn't signed by round 1, that's when the next level of worry comes. And if we get to the bye and he hasn't signed, it's panic stations. There'll be emergency podcasts every week until he signs. I'm hoping that the deal gets done before round 1.
Yeah, it won't. I don't think it will.
We're seeing a lot of the free agents for next year's signing. Like Cam Rayner has signed
in a premiership team.
Darcy Fogarty has signed.
Yeah, well, he's an Adelaide boy, isn't he? So that probably helps.
The 2 big ones, the 2 biggest names in free agency is LDU and Andrew Brayshaw.
Yes, and I think Brayshaw's going to sign, and obviously we rate them as a premiership contender. after their trading.
Look,
And the good news for LDU is, or for us, is I can't see him wanting to go to St Kilda because they're no good.
no.
They're historically no good.
We're winning finals way before they are.
Yes, and
Here you go.
he would be the face, and there's a lot of talk he doesn't want to really be the face of a club.
I don't know where they get that from.
Yeah, well, I think it's just his personality. Like, he's not a Harry Sheasel type, is he?
No.
So they're going, and I don't think Carlton, they won't have any money. They've got to try and keep Tom de Koning.
Tell you who we need to watch out for, Geelong. They'll sign him in a leadership role.
Yes,
he'll
get some half a Geelong given to him, all outside the salary cap.
Yeah, good to see the AFL finally investigating that too.
Yes.
But back on LDU.
We can't. We just got a match. We've got. I mean, it'd be nice. Brady wants to sign him, but his manager said no. And every time someone else signs up, his dollars go up. I'm not saying he's dollar driven, but it doesn't hurt.
I'm anxious because he's one of our best players.
Yep.
But I'm confident he'll stay.
And he's in that right age bracket too.
Yeah, and he's a superstar. I mean, he's going to win a Brownlow medal during his career. We won 3 games and he polled 19 votes this year. So.
Yes.
But obviously he went on record later in the season with Mitch Cleary on Channel 7 saying that he's determined to stay a one-club player, and all the mail and all that's out there suggests that he's a very loyal man and wants to stay and ride it out with North, with the core group of your Larkies and your Simpkins. So I think he will stay, but that doesn't ease the anxiety of supporters and us.
No, and maybe going to WA is a good thing because he loves his surfing. So he'll be able to surf all week. We'll have to get some patrol boats out there to keep the sharks away from him. But that might be a little silver lining for him.
Oh, here's one from Adam Monaloo, who says, your thoughts on how many games Hanson Jr. will play in 2025? Oh, boy.
Well, he's in the team at the moment. Let's say...
Not my best 23.
No, he played the last game. Follow the script. I'll say 10.
Oh, I think he'll play 5 to 7.
Okay.
I don't think he'll play that much.
All right.
Russell Moyle says, do we want to be gifting games to Freo and West Coast when we're possibly competing for a final spot? I understand the dollars, but what if it robs us of a final spot? Maybe we should get some flexibility to determine each year at the start of the season. Well, I think we've locked in for 3 years initially.
Yeah, we have. I mean, you got to sign contracts, don't you, with governments? They're giving us a lot of money. So, well, as I said when we talked about earlier, it's potentially going to cost us 4 points. Or 8 points, whichever way you want to look at it. It's going to, we're not going to go in favourites, are we? Because we're playing on their home deck.
Yeah.
Even if we're similar in skill.
We own WA. We just win over there.
Yeah, well, let's hope so.
60%. That's probably the best of the last 5 games anywhere we'd have.
But back to WA, we tried to go there. I'm thinking the early 2010s that this sort of thing was floated. And big Edward Maguire was not a happy camper because West Coast would have been a good team, or probably they were both probably good teams, and he didn't want them getting easy points against us over there. How times have changed, and the WA teams have sooked to the AFL a lot about their extra flights, haven't they?
Yeah,
they don't sook about the home ground advantage. They have the massive one they have, which goes back to that question that we're giving away a big advantage to them.
Well, the positive is we're playing one game in the sticks, or what seems to be the sticks. So they don't have a decisive home. I mean, they've got the home state advantage, but it's not like they've played there either. So
yeah, who do you think we play at Optus? Probably Wet Toast because they've got the biggest fan base, and we want to fill the stadium.
I'd want to play them there twice because Freo are miles better than them.
Yeah, and play Freo down the sticks.
Yeah.
Having said it's a 6, I did look up. The population is around about 76,000. So it's
not exactly the sticks.
No,
then, is
it's a little bit smaller than our hometown, but not by much.
A couple more questions to finish. Andrew Scalies. Oh, apologies, I probably butchered that. Should we bite the bullet and take Taru Armstrong at pick 2? Think of us not getting a top 10 key position pick the last few drafts. Have almost forced our hand. We touched on this a bit, but I would be just locking it in, say yes.
Yeah, I think I'm coming around. If we do take one of the midfielders, I probably want O'Sullivan, because I think he could probably turn him into a winger.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But Errol Goulden, yes. But well, I think that's what Colby can become. So.
Yeah, so do I. So we don't. Once again, it's not what we need, and if we have to pay overs, to get a need the Flying Viking, I'm probably happy to do that now at pick 2. But I'd like to sell pick 2, still get him, and get something coming back which we could use. But there's not a lot of buys for the slide.
Because it's so even. You throw a blanket over the top 8 or 9.
Yep. And all the other clubs would know that we want Taru. So that means all the other midfielders go back one step in the pecking order. So you've got suddenly pick 8 St Kilda. You're getting who would probably be pick 7 in the midfield.
Smiley.
On talent.
Jane asks a question. I'll just summarise it. About Sam McClure's obsession with LDU moving, because it has become borderline obsessive, that he's just obsessed with the idea of him going to St Kilda.
Yeah.
Why would he want to go?
I think we can pay pretty similar to what St Kilda can pay.
I'd be saying just sign it. You're worth every cent.
Yeah.
With the CBA increase as well, he's going to be commanding a huge amount of money.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know why he's obsessed. Who knows what goes through that mind?
Yeah, well, he's also the bloke that said they won't pick him, Mitch. They won't pick Harley.
Yes.
So, and the last question here is from our man Shinboner, who wants to know your opinions on David Warner, and and he's floating his name back in the media about opening the batting for Australia.
I think that says it all about Warner. It's like he's retired and now we need someone. I'll be the saviour. I'll puff my chest out. I'll strut around. I'll save Australia. Nah, you're retired. Piss off.
Has there ever been, and we're going a bit left field.
We wanted him out of the. Sorry to interrupt. We wanted him out of the Test team. How long ago?
About 5 years ago.
Yes. He was a list clogger.
He was,
wasn't he?
Has there ever been an Australian cricketer who's been more about me? I mean, Michael Clark comes to mind.
Yeah, well, they're best mates, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that says everything you need to know.
Yeah, they're so far from the CCC, he's not funny. That's how I'll sum it up.
Yeah, they're not getting in.
They're the anti-CCC.
Yeah, they are, and yeah, that's enough said about them. We're not going to give them too much airtime, but that might just about do us. Anything else that you want to float?
No, I think that's it. It was going to be a quick pod, and let's run over.
Yeah. So we obviously will be back to review the girls after their game Saturday 5:05 at the home of North, Arden Street. So get along and support the girls if you can. We also have an interview with one of our superstar North players coming up, hopefully soon.
Yes.
Just waiting to hear back from her about when her availability is, but that'll be great to have her on.
Yes, looking forward to that. And let's just touch on the girls, because we shouldn't just brush over it. Last home and away game, we floated we should be resting players. And I've got another reason to rest them. Not all of them, obviously can't rest them all, but a couple of our very important players I'd be resting. Because likely we'll probably play Adelaide. And it'll probably be a Friday night. And guess when Adelaide play? Friday night. And when we played late Saturday. So they're going to have an extra day's rest?
Nah, they won't play it Friday night.
You don't reckon?
They'll make sure we have a 7-day break.
Well, yeah.
They'll play an elimination final.
Yeah.
You can't finish first and later on have a 6-day break. They'll play elimination final on the Friday
Have you never watched what the AFL do? They do what suits them. They don't do what suits North. Let me tell you.
That's true.
It's a watch.
But
anyway, if they do have an extra day's break, it's even more reason to rest a key type player.
But we'll be back to preview week 1 of the finals, talk a little bit about hopefully a big win over the Suns, and then not too long until we're into the end of year reports, where we get to have a look at all of the men's listed players and give them a grade on their season 2024. So stick with us. There's plenty of content still to come. We appreciate everyone's support, especially with our growing YouTube page. There will be some video content coming soon. We're getting stuck into having a look at what that looks like. And thank you for all your support on social media as well, sending in your questions. It was pretty short notice. I didn't put it up till late last night, so good to get so many questions coming in for today's pod. And if you can like, follow, subscribe at whatever listening platform you're on, or on the socials as well, will be greatly appreciated. We appreciate all our loyal listeners who have joined us so far through 75 episodes, and hopefully you're with us for the next 75.
Yes. All right. I'll sign off. Thanks for listening. Garn the Kangas.
See you next time, guys. Go Roos!
Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.